Hello crafty friends, Amanda here, and I'm so excited. I found this photo of a event that my husband had when he was working in Hong Kong, and every once in a while they would go out to dinner with the ops from the ride, and he doesn't remember this particular event other than it was just a fun evening out. He does recognize a couple of the people. And so I wanted to record this memory because it's the only photo that I have from one of those events, and he went, 2 or 3 times a year, and he was over there for a couple of years. So what I did is I went into my stash of paper packs and I picked out this Grateful Heart paper pack, and then with the new Simple Leaves, I think it is, thin cut and stamp set there, I went and cut out 4 images of 4 different pattern papers, or actually 2 different pattern papers, front and back. So off camera I put the veins with the leaf bases, and then these pieces here are what's left over from that die cutting I did. I also pulled out one of the Picture My Life cards, and these were cut aparts that were included with the paper kit. So these weren't the Picture My Life, these were a cut apart. And I'm just playing around here trying to decide how I want to do this. I'm thinking I want to keep the red on both the top and the bottom of that photo. It was funny, Autumn Terracotta is one of the colors in this paper pack, and I don't have any more of that. It's an old retired color, but I do have Gold Rush still, and I thought actually with the coloring in the restaurant that Gold Rush actually worked better for a background. So here I'm just doing some dry fitting. That strip that I cut that has kind of the lattice work in blue off to the side, on the other side of it has the floral pattern, or the florals from this paper kit. But I needed something on this base, so I went to my background element stamp, and I'm trying to decide if I want something uniform, like in this freshly baked recipe card stamp, or if I want something a little more random, I'll call it, if you can get random with a stamped image. But that's what I'm going to do. So I take this off, and then just with sapphire ink I'm going to, around the edges of where my papers are, kind of frame it in. And you can see there's the florals from the back of that paper. I have really enjoyed kind of getting into a less clean look of scrapbooking. I used to be all clear edges. I didn't like distressing them. I didn't even really like adding sponging to the edges of my photo mats or anything. I just like clean edges. Kind of, I called it my preppy scrapbooking. And now I don't think I do many layouts where I haven't inked the edges. You can even see on here, these pages, I went ahead and inked the edges, I believe with the sapphire ink. I did go and pull out from the, I don't remember the name of it, Sweetest Honey maybe, thin cut and stamp set that had this honeycomb in it, and did some die cutting in gold because I just thought it needed that for this layout. I find it funny how our eyes kind of change and transition, and things that I never would have done before, it's like this layout needed to have these layers of the speckles in the background and then the gold hints behind there. Before I go any further, I thought, alright, you gotta glue these papers down and get your picture settled on here and figure out what direction you want to go. So that's exactly what I'm going to do. And at first I thought that I would just pick up each of the pieces and glue them down, because I had them all in place. And then I realized I'm just going to grab my T-square ruler. And if you haven't seen this, it's a new ruler by Close to My Heart. I love it that it comes in 2 parts, and it just works really well for me. So now that I have that ruler out, I'm going to go ahead and make sure that all of my pieces are down correctly. And I'm not going to have you have to sit through watching me place all of the different components, because it's pretty much how it was, other than I did choose to use the floral strip underneath or between the 2 background papers on here. It's funny, it was one of those layouts that just came together very quickly. I knew exactly what I wanted to do. I've been cleaning and organizing in my studio and kind of getting things, finding homes for them. I know we've been in this house now going on 5 months, but I'm still trying to settle into the studio and where things are going to live. And this was a sticker, I believe, off of the compliments that went with this Grateful Heart paper pack. And I thought Grateful was just the perfect title for this, because my husband was saying that that's why they went on these things, is they were grateful for the ops help on when they were working on the rides, and they could ask them to, you know, move a vehicle here or do this, and they were very, very responsive, very much excited to help and work with the group to get these rides up and going. And this was during the time that they were doing Mystery Manor. So if you want to go, and I'm sure there's YouTube videos on the ride through for that. My husband was always fascinated. He would go into work and, you know, it was just cement floor, and then he would go in the next day and all of a sudden, oh, this cement floor is hardwood floor, but it really wasn't. It was just painted to look like hardwood floor. And then there were some areas of brick, and he's like, if I hadn't touched the floor, I would have sworn that it was brick. So he's just always in awe of the artistry that comes out of some of the Disney workers. It's, you know, their skills, and he has great respect for that. So now I'm doing some embellishing with these leaves that I put together. I don't end up using all of them. I didn't figure that I would, but I wanted to have options. And then the leftovers, I can either put in one of my 6x6 plastic stamp envelopes and put it in with my embellishments, or I might just throw it in the paper pack, because I think I have a couple other fall themed photos that I've ran across recently, and maybe I'll just use them in that. I do my albums by theme. I used to do them chronologically, but now I do them by theme, just because if I want to go find an event and see what we wrote about an event, I know that I can't remember, oh, that was May of 2013, but more of, oh, when we went on that trip. So I have like all of our trips in one album, and then it's easier to flip through that and find it. So that's what I've been doing. So I don't have any problem using, you know, the same paper pack multiple times, because they all end up in different albums in my world. I love how the veins on this Simple Leaves thin cut and stamp set, just because I cut them out of that pattern paper, it gives them so much movement, and I just really enjoyed using those. I was trying to find a balance, because I used the butterfly that's basically white with some gold in it, trying to find some balance with another white and gold element from the Grateful Heart collection, and it's just not, it's not coming together. But there were these punch outs that, again, off camera, after I had punched them out, I did file off the little chads or nibs that were around each of these chipboard elements. But I just think it's fun to kind of layer in these embellishments and have different textures, and it's funny. I'm really enjoying watching other creators and learning from them, and taking some of the things that I see them do and incorporating it into my own work, but then also putting my own spin on it, in that we all have our own things that we think look good. You know, not everybody likes pink, not everybody likes blue, and I find that interesting, that, and I think that's why I like mystery envelopes with Makers with Heart, because we're given the same components, and yet our projects are completely different, because, you know, we're 7 individual people. So here I thought I needed a little bit on the upper edge of this layout, kind of to help tie it together, and there was a vein up on this leaf, so I'm going to repair that, but I'm not, it's funny, I thought it needed something, and I'm trying out different things, and I'm just not fully feeling it, so I'll scratch that idea and decide, you know, this is good. This layout is done. And then I realized I needed to add journaling the names of the people that my husband did know. So I went ahead and peeled off that cut apart, gather together image, and pop dotted it up to make a pocket for my tag. So If you haven't seen that, it's pretty easy to do. Just take a photo or an element, anything that you have on your page, pop dot around the edges, or foam tape around the edges, I should say, and then that allows you to stick a tag in. Because I have that paper there that's not fully glued down, it's kind of bumping up against the edge of the tag, so I'll just take a piece of washi here, tape that down, and then you'll see that that tag goes in quite nicely. And I just used baker's twine to tie off the top of that tag, and this layout is done, and it came together nicely. It was fun to do, and it's one more memory ready for the albums. Thank you for watching the video. If you have any questions, be sure to ask them in the comments. I love interacting with you. If you want to connect with me on social media, I do have a Facebook group. If you haven't subscribed to my channel yet, I invite you to do that now. Here's another video you may be interested in. Be kind to yourself. Blessings.